So this is teaching for women. So Christian women, you need to be starting to ask your pastor some questions. And you need to ask him, what is the parable of the fig tree and what does it mean to watch? Because your Messiah tells you this several times in Matthew 24 when he's talking about the signs of the end, right? When the disciples ask him, when shall this be? And he says, and what is the sign of the end? He says, do not be deceived. There's going to be many antichrists that will come after him to deceive many, many false prophets. And iniquity will abound. Iniquity is transgression of the law. And the love of many will wax cold. And he tells you to learn the parable of the fig tree. When its fruit is put forth, you know that summer is near. It's a springtime event. And he tells you to watch. He tells you again in Mark 13 that he's a son that goes on a far journey and gives authority over to his servants. And what he said to the porter, he said to all, watch. Revelations chapter 3, Yeshua tells you to strengthen that which remains. It's quoting Hebrews chapter 8. And watch, or he's going to come on to you like a thief in the night. Watch, therefore, and pray, for you do not know when he will return. You can read Ezekiel 2, 3, and 33, the watchman calling. And you need to read Revelations 12, the Revelations 12 sign. The first one was in September of 2017. Revelations 12 tells you that there's going to be another sign. And it tells you that Satan will be casted down with a third of his angels. You need to read Revelations chapter 6 because it tells you when this occurs, it's the sixth seal, when great tribulation will occur. And read Isaiah 28, the parable of the fig tree. Woe to the crown of pride, Ephraim, the fading flower. That is America. So if you need to be asking your pastor, what does it mean to watch and what's the parable of the fig tree? Because if you're not watching, he's going to come on to you like a thief in the night. And your pastor is to prepare you for this. So he doesn't come on to you like a thief in the night. You're supposed to be watching lest he finds you sleeping. So ask your pastor, what does it mean to watch? What does it mean to strengthen that which remains, that is ready to vanish away that has not vanished away yet. Hebrews 8, when it's talking about the covenants, because we're not in the new covenant yet. So you can read Isaiah 31. The new covenant is made with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not with the Gentiles. And from the least to the greatest will know him. 1 John chapter 2, verse 3 and 4, and this is how we know him, when we keep his commandments. And him who says he knows him and keeps not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in them. Because the Son was prophesied to give us the covenants at Horeb in the day of the assembly, the 10 commandments, Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19, quoting Deuteronomy chapter 5. That is what we're to strengthen. It hasn't vanished away yet. We're to strengthen that which remains, the covenants of promise in Ephesians 2 that you must take hold of to be grafted into the commonwealth of Israel, so you're no longer an alien without hope and without God. You're to be converted so your sins can be blotted out in the times of refreshing of the Holy Covenant in Acts 3:18 through 26. Watching, for Yeshua was sent to bless us, to turn us away from iniquity, transgression of the law. And all of the law hangs on Yeshua's 2 commandments in Matthew 22, to love God, Deuteronomy chapter 6, to keep the 10 commandments. He quoted verse 5, and if you do them in verse 25, it will be your righteousness. And love your neighbor as yourself, Leviticus 19, 15 through 18. The royal law in James 2, 8 and 9, to do righteous judgments, to rebuke sin, so your neighbor does not suffer sin upon them. Watch over each other's souls, to watch, to warn, to blow the trumpets, to turn people away from their iniquity. Because those who overcome, Revelations 2, who's given the rod of iron to rule the nations, the redeemed, they're watching. They know what it means to watch. They know the parable of the fig tree. That's the 1 Thessalonians 5. They know perfectly well. Paul needs not to write onto them because they know perfectly well. They're not sleeping.